Welcome to another episode of Ship War, my review of Here Comes the Boom.
Shipper War. When ship happens, I'm there.
Now, the only reason why I went to see this movie at the theater was because the screener for it was really close to my house, and I thought, why not? Watched the trailer, I kind of chuckled during it, and I said, it's possible this movie could be funny. And I'm happy to report that the movie is actually somewhat funny. I actually laughed during this film. Now, I have to be honest, prior to seeing this film, I had no idea it was a Happy Madison production film, because if I knew that, even though the screener was really close to me, I more than likely would have passed on it, because actually, I don't even have to explain why I would have passed on it if I knew prior, because I'm sure you guys know why. So I'm glad that I didn't know that, and I managed to go to the screener, and I actually enjoyed myself watching this film. It was actually, again, I actually thought it was funny. I actually laughed during it. Now, the premise of this film is about Kevin James' character, who pretty much has this crush on, actually has a really big crush on Salma Hayek's character, who, absolutely doesn't pay any attention to him. She avoids him, he asks her out all the time, and she doesn't really care. So this budget cut ends up happening at the school that they work at. In this budget cut, they plan on cutting the music program out of the school. And Kevin James' character seeing that Salma Hayek is upset with this whole idea, him trying to be all Mr., show off, he agrees to, start a fundraiser to get money to help this music program. And then that's when the story begins, because he then starts to realize that this whole thing that he just agreed to is not as easy as he thought it was, because he has to, raise $47,000 or something to that effect, to save the music program for the school. So he ends up doing all these odd jobs to try to make, the money up, and it's not paying. And then, by luck, he ends up meeting this Swedish guy who is freaking hilarious. Whoever that actor is, he was great. And he introduces Kevin James' character to UFC. And Kevin James doesn't know much about the whole thing, even though he was a wrestler prior. And he then realizes that this fighting thing, you end up winning money even from losing. And he's like, I can do this. I can join this thing and fight and lose and still make money, and the money I'm going to make is going to help towards this fund I'm trying to collect. And so he goes through all this training, and it's freaking hilarious, some of the scenes and the things he has to go through. And I have to say, Kevin James really buffed up for this film. I was actually surprised. There was a scene where he has his shirt off, and I was like, whoa. Where did those arms come from? Because he was really ripped. Well, he wasn't really, really ripped. He still had a gut. He was still chubby, but you can tell that he worked out to do this film. You can really tell by the definition in his arms, definitely his arms, and his chest somewhat. So that was really interesting to see, because I'm so used to seeing Kevin James being very husky, but yet in this movie he seemed like he really worked out for the role. Also, the other thing that I really admire this film for is they did a little cameo with this one actor that was in a movie that was similar to this film, and that's all I'm going to say. And at first, when I saw this actor, I was like, wait, that's not who I think it is. And I'm like, wait, it is! And I really enjoyed that little cameo they had there. I really appreciated that. So, overall, the movie was pretty funny. As for the romance, Kevin James, Salma Hayek, I thought their relationship in the movie was pretty hilarious, because they're always at odds with each other, and they're always fighting, and it's a pretty funny relationship. It really added a lot to the story and to the overall film, and I personally really enjoyed it. I'll definitely recommend this movie to those who are just looking for a light comedy, just to enjoy, sit down with a group of friends and just have a good time and have a little laugh, because this movie is funny. It's not the most hilarious comedy I've ever seen or anything like that, but it was funny enough for me to laugh and to have a smile afterwards, after I left the screener for this film. So that is all for this episode of Ship War. Goodbye, and until next time. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. First thing I'm going to say here, this movie is definitely in my top 5 favorite films of this year. this is my thing with this movie. I was excited to see this. I probably really overhyped it before watching it because of all the positive reaction and reviews for it, and the fact that I was excited prior to all of this stuff. And then actually watching the movie and getting exactly what I was expecting out of the film is just a great feeling. And this movie